Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Atire, and it's such a lovely opportunity to be here streaming from Lagos, Nigeria to West Africa, and of course to the entire world. We are always excited to have you on the show because it's always, we simply say always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. We have conversations within and around the world of education. We try to ensure that we give you opportunity to share in our conversation. So please, as you stream with us today, please let us know your location, tell us where you're streaming from, and of course, tell us your location. If it's your first time, we always have what we do to welcome first timers on the show. And also, please do not hesitate to ask questions if you do have questions for us or any of the analysts on the show regarding the topic of the day. Today is another day, and of course, on the Good Morning Education Show, you're sure to see us Mondays to Fridays from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And of course, this day is not going to be an exception. We're going to be having fantastic conversation today around something that would take a different twist, right? We'll be talking about art education and how it's driving innovation and how it's driving the future, especially for Africa. And I'm sure you don't want to miss it. But before we get to that point, um, we will be talking about news within and around the world of education. I already see someone saying, hello, Alaba Olawumi. Good morning to you. Lovely intro. That's what you said. Thank you so much for that. And of course, you are streaming and connecting with us all the way from Lagos. Okay, I almost thought you said you are from Alaba from Lagos. And I'm like, Alaba from Alaba. That's a nice one. Thank you for joining. Good morning to all our tribe members. We have some people who always, connect with us on the show. They sometimes don't say anything, but they're always there. And we know you're watching just like Big Brother. Big Brother is watching. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for everything. And today is going to be a great day. It's always a great morning, like we usually say. Our analysts will come on the show, and of course, they give us the expectation, as it were, as well. So let's just take some of the news, and then once we do that, then we'll go straight to the topic of the day. Remember, on the Good Morning Education Show, you have opportunity to share your thoughts, to ask your questions, and to give us insight into what's going on in your area. We also have another person in the building. We have Ore Oluwa Yusuf. Fantastic. Thank you for joining on the Good Morning Education Show. Yes, in fact, I think that's Ore's first time. Uh, Hello, blessing for Ore. Thank you for joining. And then we have our first headline. It says council divided over unit just VC selection process. That's the University Council divided over the selection process of the VC. Of course, we know in Nigeria, in tertiary institutions in particular, VC selection has always been a very political thing. It's always been something that comes sometimes with some additional row. Sometimes people tend to fight over this kind of things. But well, we hope for the best for UniJOS, and we believe that the outcome will be favorable. At this point in time, let me welcome Feyinfolu Falodun. It's quite smiling indicator. How are you this morning? Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Rotimi. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, the Good Morning Education Tribe. And welcome to another day and another beautiful day with us.
Fantastic. I just read a particular news about the council divided over UniJOS VC selection. Do you have any takes on that?
Well, it's their show. They would run it.
Okay, so now there you go. Feeling saying it's a show and it's their show, so they will run it. So we have practitioners playing on the stage, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's move into another conversation. And that is Buhari government appointed unqualified people as rectors.
That's a sad one. That's a sad one. If there are things that we can joke with, there are things that we can take a gamble with. I don't think one of those things is the education sector. Now, we have had cases in the country where people had been like triangle pegs in round holes, and it really did not fit. And we have seen how that played out. It never played out well, where somebody is struggling in the area they're supposed to be operating in. Now, when you have unqualified people as rectors, what kind of decisions are they going to make for their institutions? What kind of, do they even understand what's going on there? Will they be interested in what's going on there? Will they be hands-on? Will they be involved? And I don't think it's a Buhari government thing. So we shouldn't, the headline shouldn't have been like witch hunting and saying, oh, it's Buhari's mistake. It's something that has been happening repeatedly and repeatedly in this country, and it's something that we really need to get right. Having people who are in the education line in that system who understand what the unique challenges and what the solutions for this issue is, they should be the ones being in the helms of affairs. But that said, we're hoping that whoever are the people that work with the rector, that they are qualified and that they'll be willing, with the rectors will be qualified and willing to help them navigate the system and still do good by everyone involved.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Obviously. And we also have a former drug dealer turned shoemaker achieves success, bags a master's degree in style. Wow, that's a transformation in itself.
This is a story that should be celebrated. This is a story that says that you don't give up on people. This is a story that says, yeah, your background might be funny, might be faulty, but what you make of the future is what matters most. And this is where I would say that, especially for educators, for teachers who run down students in their classes, I can imagine that this person dropped out of school at some point, or maybe didn't drop out of school, but was in school and was very troublesome and giving them a heck of a time. And there likely would have been teachers who would have told you never amount to anything. They'll pick you up in the gutter someday. But then somebody else must have come into the life of this person and help them to navigate that phase in their lives. And see what we have today. It's not just a first degree, it's a master's degree. I celebrate this person and celebrate those that were instrumental to helping her, because I said that it's a female. So those who were instrumental in helping her to achieve the success, holding her hands, pulling her through this. And today, we're celebrating her. They all have done very well. And I hope that this kind of stories make the round more and serve as inspiration to others who are struggling or at a point in their lives where they're either giving up on themselves or they feel like the world has given up on them, that they can do better, they can do more with themselves. What they see is who they are.
Fantastic. What they see is who they are. So I'm just saying shout out to those who said hello to us. Oyolua, you should welcome to the show. She's saying hello. And I have a brother from another mother. That is Ayokemi Stephen Bambi. I used to call him Ayo Bambi. And is a very, very dear friend, dear brother, dear family person to me. I'm sure is joining us all the way from Akwa Ibom State. And would like to say a big welcome to Good Morning Education Show. Ring the bell of blessings for him as well. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, all the way from Uyo. Yes. And of course, another headline. Defy your admission, Uni Osun VC. It is underage candidates.
Okay, so pities. That part of it is funny, but the truth of the matter is that when we rush children through school, through primary school, they probably have a double. I don't know if they still do that thing, where they give them double promotion, and then they skip a class. Many times they still get to primary 5 or the final primary level, and the penultimate primary level, and move on to the secondary school. And then the secondary school, they're still trying to move on to the university before they are the final. There's a reason that the developmental stages of a child have been charted out. There's a reason that human beings have a developmental path, a growth path. And it's because there are certain things that you have to grow through and grow in to be able to navigate some other parts of life. For instance, I had a child in grade 5 who was about 8 years old, and she really could not cope. She really could not cope. Before small challenges, she would just burst into tears and cry her eyes out. So you can imagine for many of these children these days, they're being sheltered. They really are not streetwise. They don't even know what to do. If somebody just shouts at them and they sit down there, they probably start shaking. And then you're going into the university where you're going to meet people from all walks, from different backgrounds, from different experiences, and then they cannot cope. So yeah, the VC is right to say they should defer. Not that they're losing their admission, just defer. It could be for a year. And in that 1 year, it shouldn't be that they're still at home, daddy is petting them and mommy is singing their praises, and they're still being sheltered. They should be prepared for the life out there. They should be prepared for what they're going to face, independent of their parents. So yeah, the call is right by the VC, and I hope that parents also see this as a call to allow these children go through their normal stages of development. Where there should be children, please let them be children. Where there should be preteens, please let them be preteens, and let them not. These things have effects in the future when they skip stages, and where we just keep hurrying them and rushing them. Where are they rushing to?
They're rushing to Russia.
It's okay. I hope Russia will open its doors for them.
Dr. Ugochi of Africa. Good morning. How are you today? Ugochi has said not to answer because I put Dr.
Good morning to our amazing listeners.
Ugochi. Ugochi.
I answered though, Jesus Christ.
The network is refusing to allow you to speak. We didn't hear that part. I said Dr. Ugochi. We can crowdfund for your doctorate conferment. All right. 50 prisoners set to graduate in Abuja. There's a lot of things about prisoners now. Prison break, prison record break.
Well, of all the news that has been.
Now it's better. I think it's better now. Ugochi, we can hear you now. Okay, let's carry on then.
Of all the news that's been coming out of the prisons recently, from all the different Schofield antics till this is one of the heartwarming news from the prisons. 15 prisoners set to graduate. Awesome. It's so the prison system is supposed to be a correctional and reformational system. So we shouldn't have people. What's usually more common with people going to prisons and coming out is that they come out worse than they went in. They network. They have a stronger negative network that they meet in the prisons, and many of them get out and are not even able to integrate into the society anymore. So they find themselves going back there and repeatedly going back there. They're not reformed, they're not better. But with this, 15 people set to graduate, that means that I hope that means that something transformational has happened in their lives. They've been there, had time to reflect over what has taken them there, what they want to do with their lives, and that they're ready to launch into the society and be productive citizens.
Fantastic. And we also have on the strike ASUP to meet government district.
May their meeting be fruitful. We're tired of strike. We're tired of school closures. So this meeting, hoping it's fruitful, hoping that at the end of it, we're not going to hear about. I wish I could say that we will never have strikes anymore, but that's a long shot. So I would just say that at the end of this meeting, we hope that we will not hear about strikes in any of our high institutions for a long time. It's time we got this right. We actually just need to get this right and keep our future in school, keep them learning, keep them educated.
Fantastic. While you were speaking, we had Titi and Grace joined us on the show. Grace Amoka, good morning. Titi, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to be here this morning.
Good morning, Grace.
Titi, over to you. Good morning.
Good morning, Grace. Rotimi, everyone.
Why are you guys sounding low today? You need a cup of coffee or you need a cup of cappuccino?
I think I need some. Okay, let me do it again. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, and good morning education show. Welcome everyone for joining us.
Grace.
Yes, Mr. Rotimi.
Okay, now I just want to check the volume. Now you're gingered back. All right. So on that on that note, we go straight to the conversation of the day, and let's welcome the last born as well. Last born, welcome. Good morning. Ikiagu.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Now your voice is clearing out after all the party after party. See, if you're grooving in Africa like man, thank God. You're dancing in advance.
It's fun all the way, yeah.
Okay, so we have a conversation today. We're speaking on art education driving the future, especially for us in Africa, in Nigeria to be precise. I think that it's somewhere I stumbled on something that said like Africa is the home of art. I don't know how true that is, but there's a lot that art education can drive and bring for us, so many areas unexplored. So I'd like us to start on that conversation today. I'll probably start with Fee, go to Grace, and then Titi, Safety Chick, and back to Ifyo. So I'm starting with Fee. So Fee, when you look at the word art education, or you look at the concept of art education, what really do you see setting the tone? Is there a need for education in art? To what extent, to what dimension, at what degree do we talk about this?
Yes, so I see art as the architecture that every other thing we do is built on. Unfortunately, in our climate, art is somewhat seen as something unserious, especially when it comes to education. In school, you want to find arts, it's like it's a waste of time. We just want to keep the children there, let them just, it's like an afterthought. It's not really one of those subjects you take seriously. I remember when I was to write my JAMB exams, and my first choice of course to study was fine arts. I'm quite a creative person and I wanted to explore. That was the only thing that I saw myself doing, fine arts. But, parental intervention, I'm sure my parents were thinking, what do you want to do with art? And they told me that, like, really, what do you want to do with fine arts in this climate? You have a gallery. Is that going to feed you? Is that going to put food on the table for you? Is that going to pick your bills? And then how many people are going to appreciate this? I think I agree with the statement that Africa is the hub or home of art. When we look around us, not just in Nigeria, look at other African countries and you see the things that come out of these places. Look at our clothing, look at our textiles, look at our furniture, our decorations, even our utensils. They're all very artistic. They're really very artistic. And but when it comes to education, we feel there is no need to have children focused on that need of education, but that is changing. We have had arts competitions where they're keenly compete, they're keenly the competition is really keen. You have children participating and showing their prowess, the things they can do in that regard. And then I started with, I see art as the architect of every other thing. So the science is the machine, but what brings it out? Many people fall for phones, fall for laptops, and some other devices and gadgets simply because of the way it looks. A car, the first appeal of a car to you is the way it looks, is the body, and that's the art part of it. So for me, if we begin to see that technology, science, whatever else we that comes together to form the hub and the crust of who we are is dependent on art, then it probably would change our orientation that, oh, we could have children who would, well, yes, study fine arts, and maybe what they want to focus on in the future is building, designing cars, designing. We could have a phone that just has a completely different shape. So art education we should begin to put much more emphasis and much more importance on it than we have done so far. I'll stop here.
Okay, that's a very good intro, and I appreciate you for that comment. That brings us to the conversation. So let's move straight to, I think, Grace. Grace, art education. What do you see it in terms of impacting the future of education and even the future of our economy? Grace, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rotimi, and thank you, Finn, for giving us that foundation. And that's what I think art is. It's supposed to be foundation on which every other thing is built, because it's a tool for communication. And I feel like we have thought about art in a very restrictive way, where we think about just drawing and painting, but then like it has a lot of other expressions which for me should even be better integrated into the curriculum. So from fine arts to drama, music, and all of that, there are lots of benefits that I think that educators around the world can utilize, the various forms of art to, teach different skills and abilities. And like Finn said, it already has that natural attraction, or that natural thing that people are drawn to, that can help us to use it as a tool. So we can't afford to look at art as just that afterthought, or something that we just use to supplement what we're already doing, because it helps in a lot of ways. So it helps development of motor skills, social skills, language skills, and then so the whole creativity thing that we're talking about, 21st century skills that children need, we talk about it so much, and do as much. So I think that art is one way that we can actually bring out that creativity in these children, their problem solving skills. And it helps also just to connect, all other disciplines. And, kids are able to understand the concepts they are being taught holistically if we're able to introduce art into it. So I feel like another thing that I think it does is it connects people. It's like football. Everybody kind of understands the language of football. So we don't, when it comes to football, nobody's talking racism or anything. Like, we're somehow united together where we support the same teams and things like that. So art also has that ability to do that, to connect people beyond their various inclinations. So I think it's really important that we tap into this much more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Grace. So let's talk to Titi, and while we're trying to look at it, there's something that I picked up from Grace and Fee, and it also now brings up the question that I think that while the world is, yes, considered to be a global village, and it seems like, okay, there's nothing new under the sun, but there's a lot of untold story about Africa and about Nigeria that you can find in the world of art. Titi, how can we leverage on this? Because, one of the things that lead me to say can be exported is something new that makes us so unique, or something that is not too regular out there. Titi, what's your take on this?
Okay. I think one of the things that just to provide some clarity to the definition art, when we say art, it's a combination of fine art, it's a combination of drama, music, and movement. So those four elements is really what makes up the word art. So when we talk about drama, music, movement, which is a bit of dance, and then the fine arts, what people know, that's what's called art. And I like what what Grace and Fee have said in terms of arts in the classroom. Um, Art is so important because there's some children in your classrooms that will normally not be engaged without art, because art is a visual expression. um, it also helps you to confirm what people have learned. So when you teach a subject, you should always leave a space for them to draw their understanding. I've taught you about this droid. We've just learned something. You then give them an opportunity to draw. It then really shows the understanding that they have. So art is that important in everyday classroom work. But when it comes to exporting education and exporting our art, then that's where the uniqueness of each person, because that's another beautiful thing about art. It allows you to be uniquely you. When you tell children to draw what they've learned, the probability that you see two drawings that are very alike is actually very rare. They're different ways they've understood it and different expression, and that's what's so unique about art. And so when it comes to each culture or each country exporting their art, it shows the beauty, the uniqueness of how they see things, how they understand things, and it's just so beautiful. One of the things that it's a wonderful place, and if you've never been there, it's a place that everyone should go to. Is Nike Arts Gallery, here in Lagos. It's just one of those things that just when you go through it, it's like you have so many people telling so many stories in different expressions. Grace was saying that art, is creativity, it promotes creativity, and it really does. But remember that art is not one expression. It can be music, it can be dance. Look at how Nigeria has exported elements of our dance in various places. When I watch videos all over the world and I see it being infused with some of our dance move. I'm like smiling. Oh yeah, that's Nigeria, or that's Africa. Wherever they got the dance move from. When I also see artists, global artists that are shining on a global scale, I'm like, wow, this is art. I really wish Eben was here, because this is his baby. Or when you even see what people are doing with art when it comes to recycling. So art is, it never stand alone. It's an infusion of of steam. That's why they just have to put art back into steam, because there's nothing you do that doesn't have an expression, and that's where the art comes. And that's what Fee was saying. You want to design a car, the art expression must be there. When fashion designers are designing clothes, that's the art expression coming in, whether it's in the colors or whether it's in the style. It's in a lot of things that we do, and more now in technology, because everything technology has a visual element to it. So there's a lot of art. So what some people are basically doing right now is taking what has already existed, but they are giving it a different expression. So art allows you to take what has been existing before and just give it a new expression. One of the things that we do in Niger Kids is that we write short stories, and those short stories are really stories that existed. The only difference is that we're giving the different art expression. So and we're taking it to the world. So the same African folk tales. It's just that we've put a more modern art to it than maybe when someone told it before. So art is another thing that can allow you to take the old and put it in a new way, and export it to the world. But anything that we're doing now that has technology to it has art very much in it. If you're going to do animations, there's art in it. Is art and technology. If you're going to do cartoons, cartoon animations, it's there. A lot of technology now. When you are doing your PowerPoint presentations, preparing it all for sorts of things, that's art. And the beautiful thing about it now is that there are no boundaries with technology to express your art. There are a lot of freelance um, sites that promote art from all over the world, and art's not necessarily drawing. Oh, you can't really hear me. Oh my,
The volume is low.
the volume is low. Really, is this better?
Yeah, better now.
Yeah. And then I look at it. There are places where you can go and download free pictures, like likes of pixels and all that. That's art. Art having so many expressions. Technology has taken it global, and it's a fantastic thing. You can also go to a place where you can get free PowerPoint templates. All that is art. You can go to a place where various graphic designers have designed things, and then you just use that's Canva. That's art. So now art has just gotten a lot of expressions on its own, driven by technology, has taken it on to a global platform. Let me stop there.
Thank you so much. I love the word where you said there are no boundaries with art, and technology has taken art to a bigger and a global scale and dimension, right? And which really brings me to the question I'm going to ask Ifyok before I get to Safety Chick. So Ifyok, being a practitioner and an advocate of creativity, what should be the core element and focus in driving the future, especially our future when it comes to art?
Okay. I was going to say praise the Lord. I think I've been into. Okay. That's on the light note. Your question is, what should we focus on? Mr. Rotimi, please, can you give the question? Please, can you just say the question again?
Why not just say the praise the Lord? I think that's where you
Praise
get back
the
to
Lord.
the
Okay.
So how do we? What part of what should we focus on in the core area of this integration? And if possible, you could give examples, looking at it from the place of creativity as well.
Okay, so it's one thing to talk about the different expressions of arts in education. So how we're able to learn art in dance, in drama, in literature, in pictures, designs, photography. And these are all expressions. It's another thing to talk about art education. So this has to do with improving or working on how people see art. Now, art is related with beauty, even though that's very vague, but what we can understand by this is a variety of activities under the area of art. So what this means is that art is a skill or a craft, and how we introduce or how we use those sets of skills or crafts to improve whatever it is we're doing, putting it into the different works of life. So, for example, even as a doctor, arts can come into play. As a teacher, arts can come into play. As anything, as a plumber, as a farmer, arts can come into play. So I went to for example, I went to our farm last week, and there was someone we hired to plant cassava all around. And the way he laid out the whole field was amazing. Now, for me, I saw artwork in there in such a way that it made life even easier for us who had to harvest the crops. Okay, so he beautifully laid out the plants in such a way that there's space to navigate, there's space for which the plants can go. All that I found when I spoke to the guy, he was like it was more like, look, his whole plan in his head was about bringing beauty to the farm. I was amazed. Like, he just wants to look at the crops grow, and he wants to see that they're laid out beautifully. Okay, so that's his own expression of art. And so bringing it into the education sector now, I think what we have to focus on is how to improve learning through the different expressions of art. So if we are dancing, what's the focus of that art activity? How do we also then discover and create an understanding of how people are, how people see the world, how people behave? Can we, through arts, see potential for learning? So I think for me, whenever I'm planning activities and I'm looking at the different areas of learning with art and creativity in it, how am I able to bring out and help expression of self, expression of thoughts, and expression of whatever people or the children or individuals have in their mind. Now, the third thing is, how can I then transfer that learning into other disciplines? How can I transfer that learning into other areas of learning? So one, it's about improving the learning outcomes through arts and being able to transfer that learning to other disciplines.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm going to come to Safety Chick now, knowing fully well that art is such an expansive kind of spectrum. How can we promote research in the different dimensions and areas that we mentioned of art? How can we, encourage that kind of culture of research? Safety Chick.
Okay, so good morning, Mr. Rotimi. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to amazing listeners. So from the first time spoke, what was just coming to my mind was Black Panther and the news I read up from the BBC, I think last year. And the reason Black in a different dimension, showcasing art, showcasing culture, showcasing this part of the world in a dimension people had not seen it. And that is it. So what is going to make people to do research and put out that kind of work is when something like that comes out in the first place. So last year, during the lockdown pandemic, the BBC recorded that because everybody was cooped, there was no opportunity to create real films. People wanted animation, and there was a higher need for animation that looked African. So in that interview, they had even interviewed some Africans who were creating short animation with tells you that instead to just the painting, it has evolved into a whole sphere. So that is why I appreciate something that Ebony Life Films are also trying to do. They are projecting the Africans, the continent, in a different light, showcasing real stories, not the ones that always look like we're always killing people in the village and all those sort of stuff. So research would begin from creating something that shows that this is possible, so that other people can see that, oh, okay, so someone has done it and it's trended, or it's got the attention of the world. Oh, so we can also do it. And then people begin to create more. That is why, as we speak, Disney has collaborated with some Africans who have created an animation, and we're going to have our first African animation on Disney. I think it's Iwuja or something like that. The name is around those letters. It's set to be released in 2022, but they've started working on it, and that information was put out to the public late last year. So that shows you that people want to see what is going on here. And as we come out boldly and do our own little and share on our platform, it encourages other people that there is a path here, there is a way. And guess what? As other people begin to do, more things would come, because that's what happens with research. As people do, you are encouraged, you see that, okay, this one did not work right. Okay, my own, I will do it this way. And then variety comes in. Even our architecture is now being exported out there. People want to now see infusions of African art in architecture, and our own homegrown architects are now being featured across world stages. So art covers this whole spectrum, and as we do little, just know that it is creating a template for those coming behind to do even more.
Thank you so much. I really think that we need to address, and this is an open question to everyone, I think we need to address why we so much, disdain our own. It's like everything African seems to be representation of inferiorism, low quality, and all the likes. Starting from our dressing, I'm sure some of you remember back in 2011, well, 2013, 14, and 15. I've been talking about it. That, for example, when we look at our uniforms, right? Why is it not totally African? Why doesn't it resonate with our culture? Why should we, in the heat, be putting on blazers? Why can't we have fabrics that are African connotated, in nature and all those things? I even went as far as, starting off an African school challenge. African school fashion challenge, where the idea was to see people. And of course, recently, Ogun State has taken the bull by the horn. But, a lot of people gave different excuses. And you see, as a statement, I say, if you think it can work, step aside for the people who think it can work, so that they can do it. Because sometimes some people, for them to show that their school is standard, or for their school that their school is good, it is something foreign. We don't have that. And I think we need to really look at this question. And I want to ask, starting with Fee, going back to Grace, to Titi, and Safety Chick, why don't we like our own? Why do we kill our own? Why do we disregard our own? Because it's a major concern. Over to you, Fee.
We disregard our own because, for me, it's simply because of inferiority complex. We don't accept things that are ours. We believe that, and I think this stems from colonialism. So we believe that these guys came in, they had something better. That's why they could come in and take our land, take our people, take us away. And so yeah, they have to be better. And I have always been an African person. I love the beauty of Africa. You look at our fabric, for instance, they're breathable. They're for our weather, we have the right kind of fabrics. Apart from, yeah, we have the ashoke and all of that, which are quite heavy, but those are ceremonial. They're not things we wear on a daily basis. So this issue of uniform, I see children and I pity them. They're walking in the sun. Some of them, not all of them, have parents dropping them off at school. And then you see them walking in the sun. They have the blazer, they have the tie, they have everything there, the skirts, they put on a sock. Some even have a hat on. And they're sweating. I'm wondering, how is this convenient? I mean, my niece was to start school. When she was to start school, they were talking about her uniform having. I was asking about the uniform because I was very particular about her uniform. Like a child of 2 years, you should not be putting her, please, in shirts, and she should be coming to school in home clothes, in clothes that are free enough for her to play in, to move in, to be comfortable in, for crying out loud. And we need to embrace our own and realize that we are not we don't play second fiddle to anybody. Maybe one thing we don't realize is that our art is being exported, our art in all forms, in music, in dance. We have African choreographers. I think that the last video from Beyonce had an African choreographer, had Nigerians feature in that video, a Nigerian grandmother with her gele and all of that. Our art is being exported. These guys are seeing something in our art that we're not seeing. And if care is not taken, very soon we will have our music, our dance, our our fine art taken away from us and then being reintroduced to us afresh. Already, we're having the language exchange programs. We're having, before it was, you go to school to study Yoruba and people ask you, do you want to become a herbalist? Now, you can go to school to study Yoruba and know that you can travel and fit into a school that is looking for an indigenous language teacher or a foreign language teacher. So things are changing, but we also need to change with the times as it's changing and embrace that which is ours. Look at our houses, the way we build our houses. Some of the best houses for me are the houses that have the African architecture infused into the design, where you have wooden floors, where you have nature around the house, not where everything is looking all stainless and aluminium and glass, and it's just looking very disconnected. We look at our music. Gradually we're fading out of our indigenous tones, where everything now is being hip-hopized, funkified. Everybody wants to sound like everybody's a wannabe Jay-Z now. Everybody's a man, and then they're singing, and you can't even pick out what they're saying. Why can't we take that which is ours, develop it properly, accept it, and know that the fact that I decide to wear an Ankara gown does not mean that I'm more serious in my life. It does not mean that it doesn't mean that I cannot walk in.
You're Raz.
It doesn't mean I'm Raz. I like my
What's
place.
your Raz? Raz.
Raz is African. That's what it means. As long as you're not conforming with a particular look and having weave and having bone straight and looking all Oyibo, Please. And you said something about the way our children are brought up. This also says a lot about it. So from the moment the girls can walk, we're putting weaves on their head. From the moment the boys can stand and all of that, they're wearing jeans and wearing. What happened to us making children's clothes from African fabrics? We need to begin to infuse this thing into the children in the classrooms. We can have art decorations. One thing, I know there are some schools that have their display boards. They have Ankara fabrics as the background for their display boards. That's a good place to start from. We can have more of those things in our classroom. Have pottery in the classes. Have all of those things that children look at, and they have a sense of identity. They have a sense of belonging. It starts from when we're little. I think it's late for someone who is already past the teen age, or even at the teen age, to begin to want to help them see that, oh, there's beauty in Africa. It's past. But when they are younger, we can let them see that, look, you are not razzed by going to that party. You see children go to a party and they say, oh, I want to wear my princess gown. I want my tiara. I want my... Yes, we have those things in Africa. You can dress like an African princess and still stand out and still be exquisite and still be unique and still be absolutely beautiful.
Thank you very much. Because I don't know if anyone saw some days ago, there's this school, I can't remember the exact location, where the school was built with straws and wood. It was trending some days ago. And lovely classrooms, lovely structure, but it wasn't the conventional school structure, as it were. And that's just what we're talking about, because until this education and art education becomes a culture, and it's in our fabric, we might not begin to think in a different way. We might not be able to think or have a different paradigm, because I've said it before. I don't know if I mentioned it to Grace. Some years ago, I had the privilege to do some visit to Kaduna on an education intervention, and also back to Cross River. And then I noticed that some of the people I spoke with, educators, were asking me, look, we understand you're teaching us, we understand what you're saying, we're going to talk to the government, we don't have chairs, blah, 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 this and that. And I asked them a question: must the children have chairs? Must they have chairs before they learn? Why can't the children sit down? Why can't, because they were charging, I think, the children 3,500 each to make their own customized chair. Those chairs that have the flaps, and then they'll bring it to school. Though they're calling it free education, they have to pay for their chairs to sit. I said to them, when we did the math, the number of students in that class, I said, if they bought rug in that class, everyone will sit down. The teacher will come to their level and sit down as well, and they will pass across knowledge. But you see, we have come to the construct of what you call proper, and proper has been sold to us by someone else. And because we don't have the culture, there's no art driving us. It almost seems to be like we're a copy and paste generation, waiting for people to teach us what to do. Let's go over to Grace. Grace, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I'll just try to do this very briefly. And I think the last part of what you said is really what the problem is. So it's the narrative that we have chosen to buy. I wouldn't say the narrative that has been sold to us, because when you go to the market to buy something, somebody selling pomo, you're like, okay, I don't want pomo, I want to eat goat's meat. So it's having that clarity of purpose to say that this is what I want. Anybody can be selling what they want to sell, but then what do I want to buy? So we need to start to change that narrative, and it's our responsibility to do that. I see this problem, not just in, it's everywhere. So, someone speaks with an accent and we're judging the person. For the longest time, throughout my 5 years in university, they used to say I had, a Hausa accent. And for me, I felt it was really flattering. I didn't see it as a bad thing, but then there were people that meant it as, oh, you come from Kaduna where they are pushing cows around, because that's what some people think. They just feel everybody's milking cows and we're shepherding our cows around. So I think we need to start to change that narrative, that someone speaking with an accent is basically them trying to speak your language with the rules of theirs. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We do the same thing when it comes to weddings. For God's sakes, what is the matter with us? So you do a court wedding, you do something called a traditional wedding, then you now do a white wedding. I'm like, can we just choose our struggles? Later we'll now say, oh, young people are not getting married. That's because like we've just put ourselves in so much bondage that we don't even know what we want again. So I would say let's start to change this narrative. And I like when people like Ngozi, for example, are doing that. There was one of the meetings they had when she came to Abuja, and everybody appeared in Ankara because someone has chosen to put it out there to say that, oh, Ankara is the new cool. When this movie Coming to America came out, we were the ones that were most excited about it. And I'm like, what exactly is in that movie? So it's when they take our raw materials and then repackage it for us and bring it back into what we originally have. We will now start to shout as if it's something. I'm like, Coming to America Part 2, it wasn't great. Let's call a spade and not a garden too. But because it was someone else that took it out there and then repurposed it and brought it, I'm like, and then we're like, oh, it's so cool, it's so nice, it's so sexy. They gave us isn't Ankara you have in your wardrobe that you only wear on Sundays when your ushering team even says, okay, you people can wear Ankara finally. Do you understand? So even in churches these days, everybody's supposed to appear a certain way, everybody's supposed to be corporate till Thanksgiving. That happens maybe like twice a year. So everybody is guilty of all of this. So we just need to start to change the narrative and accept ourselves for who we are. I think art is one way that we can do that. Various expressions of, it just gives you that opportunity to express yourself the way that you want to. So I'll just stop here. Thank you.
And so stopping there, we might have to now stop the show. So we'll just give everyone just like a 20 seconds wrap up. So we'll go to Safety Chick, we'll go to Ifyok, and then we'll end with Dr. Titi. So Safety Chick, very quickly, just your last wrap up, parting shots.
Before my last wrap up, in 2021, hip hop hippopide. Anyways, to be serious, please let's take art seriously, and let's understand that art is not just relegated to just drawing and painting. We can infuse aspects of our culture and creativity into the work that we do so that it has this new blend. It's innovative and it is appealing to everyone that comes in contact with it. Thank you.
I propose that on this year's Safety Summit, your dress and outfit must be African print, African attire, African style. Safety Chick.
I'll make it for you, Safety Chick. I'll make it for you.
Yay, of course. That's not a problem. I'll show off. I love African dresses. Do you know I design dresses? Almost all my traditional outfits, I'm the one that designs them and tell my tailor what to do. But so I don't mind. Thank you so much, Grace.
You should thank me as well for making Grace say that.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Rotimi, for bringing it out.
Dr. Titi.
And it's so important because this year's summit, we're having more international people. So it's really good that, we also showcase our Africanness, Lagos, Nigeria to the world. Yeah.
Dr. Titi, over to you.
What was we saying? Close. We said a lot. We started. We ended up in wanting to also give black eye. But I think I would say that when it comes to art, I want us to demonstrate a Wakanda and not a Coming to America too, as we take our art to the world. I'm serious, because that was when I went to America. That was what I saw. We can decide to be a Wakanda when it comes to us and our art, or we can decide to be a Coming to America too. The difference is, it's not even worth talking about. But I'm saying let's be Wakanda. Let's not be Coming to America too when it comes to our art.
Thank you so much. You've really given us a very good end or wrap up to the show. So conversation continues, and we believe that everyone out there will stay true to their identity, true to their culture, true to their personality, because art education is not just school education, it's life education. And guess what? That's what's driving the future. Everything is being designed, and you have the permission, and you have the authority, and you have the chance to design the future. So thank you for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday, and the same time, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. for another fantastic conversation on the Good Morning Education Show. Shout out to those who joined us, Princess. Shout out to those who joined us from Akwa Ibom, Ayo, Kemi, Bambe. Shout out to Alaba. Shout out to everyone who joined us. Thank you so much for doing this with us today. We'll be back tomorrow. Ask the ladies wrap up and take us out of the show today. Over to you, ladies.
It's always
It's always a great
great morning
on the
on the
Good
Good Morning
Morning Education Show.
Show.
A bell of blessing to everyone. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.